Tadvaram paryaya vedmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya dhimahi Tanno guruhu prachodayate Om Om Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Gita Ananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Namaskaram, Swagatam, Vanakkam. Continuing our exploration of the jo-thi Dharana, jo-thi Dhyana, that if our efforts are worthy of it, we receive that highest gift of meditation, as Vijaya so beautifully put it yesterday, day before yesterday. I've been enjoying the beautiful thoughts from all of my beloved Gitananda Yoga family, and Divya has really opened up the best from each one. Continuing into the last week of her first season of Global Voices. I'm sure there'll be many more seasons. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. When we talk about the Antara Jyoti, the luminosity within, Antara means within. Bahira is external, Antara is internal. Antara Jyoti. The Jyoti within, we have said there is a cranial luminosity. There is the concept of Murda Jyoti or Murdini Jyoti. A Jyoti that is Vishoka, without or transcending all suffering and all negativities. A beautiful light that arises within. And what we need to realize is that just as the rainbow is not just 7 colors, it's a wide spectrum. That when we are talking of these inner light experiences, there is a wide spectrum of the experience. So everybody is not going to have the same experience, because the perception of the experience, as long as we are in the body, as long as we have a sense that I am me, our perception of the experience is going to be different than somebody else who's in their body thinking that they are they. So whenever we talk of these inner experiences, Anubhuva, this Anubhuta, what we call Anubhuta or Anubhava. Anubhava and Anubhuta, it is an experiential state. And this Anubhava or experience or Anubhuta, which is experienced, Anubhuta Vishaya, as Patanjali reminds us, Anubhuta Vishaya Asampramoshaha, he talks about Smriti, that you do not forget that which you have experienced. That is Smriti in a negative connotation and positive connotation, because Smriti is one of the Chitta Vrittis. Yet, Smriti is one of the prerequisites for sadhana. That you don't forget to learn from your past experiences. Every experience should be built on memories of the past that are then left behind. You don't stay in the memory, because if you stay in the memory, you have been left behind. You learn from the memory, come into the now, create a new memory, use it to go forward. Each memory enabling you to go forward, not going backward and saying, oh, 30 years ago I had samadhi. Great. What's happening to you today? What's happening in this moment? People are so locked. And the older we become, we get a bit more locked in this. Those good old days. In those days, we wanted to get out of those days. But now they are good old days. Every moment is an experience. So these experiences that are there, especially with this luminosity, the jo-thi, the antar-jyoti, are not going to be the same for everybody because the way they perceive it. You know, someone who's perceiving the same colorless white light. And please remember, when I use this word white light, I've yesterday already mentioned that it doesn't mean white as a color because it is a combination of all the colors, and yet it is beyond the colors. It is all encompassing and yet all transcending. So when we say white light, we don't mean white as a color that people think about. I would like to actually call it colorless. Given a chance, I would call it colorless. In fact, when we talk about this Akasha Jnana Kriya that we talked about, the Chiddakasha, the space of consciousness, and we said it's just outside the front top of the head, Chiddakasha. We talked about warm, velvety darkness. And so people say, oh, you mean it is black or it is velvety? And people get very confused in that. What I like to tell people, it's like outer space. The inner space and outer space mirror each other. They don't really mirror, they go along with each other. The space or Akash is beyond color. That is what we need to realize. See, as we go up the ladder in the Pancha Mahabhuta from Prithvi up Tejas, Vayu and then Akash, you have actually come away from, you are becoming subtler and subtler. So space actually is colorless. Akash, ether is colorless. So when we talk about the Chiddakasha, it is actually a colorless space. If I may use that term, it is a colorless space and it gets colored by your perception. Your tool of perception, and you also are a tool of perception who has tools of perception, your Indriyas, and your Manas is already a tool of perception for the Ishvara, for Adi Purusha, Mahapurusha, Vishesha Purusha as Patanjali, Purusha Vishesha Ishvara, Klesha Karma Vipaka Ashayai Aparamashta, Purusha Vishesha Ishvara is how Patanjali so beautifully defines it. We are a tool of perception for the Purusha, Ishvara, and then we have tools of perception, but our tools of perception are not pure. That is where the kleshas come in. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhiniveshaha, kleshaha. Where do the kleshas come in? They come in and they color our perceptions. So something that is colorless, beyond color, the Chiddakasha, where Lord Nataraja, the cosmic dance, Ananda Tandavam, Adina, that beautiful dance of consciousness is happening there in Chiddakasha. But because there is no color, we perceive it as velvety darkness. That is why whenever they show any space movies, Star Trek, Star Wars, anything that goes into space, you see this big darkness. Right? The absence of color is perceived in that way. That is why the presence of all colors together is considered white, the absence of colors as dark. So it is conceived as, oh, space is dark. Space is not dark. It is colorless. Akasha is colorless. So Chiddakasha is colorless. But because we are perceiving with our limited tools of perception that are colored by the kleshas, we perceive it as having different colors. So people say, I saw green light. Okay, that is your perception. You were looking at that with a green tinted glass. I saw blue light. Okay, your tint was blue. Purple. Yours was purple. I didn't see anything. Yeah, your glasses were covered with mud, muck, mala. So you saw nothing. Your windows are painted with black paint. So you see nothing. You see there's no light. Yeah, your windows have been discolored so badly the light cannot come in. The light is there. You cannot see it because of a fault in your perception. What is the cause of this? Avidya, ignorance. That avidya, which is the root of all the kleshas, Patanjali says, avidya is the cause of all of this. That is why avidya has to be eradicated. So you say, yes. So if I join a university and I take up a PhD in yoga, all my avidya will go away. No. You will get some more avidya loaded onto you and you will get a PhD for it. Our universities opened up the call for PhD in yoga therapy. So any of you applying for it, you know what I think about these things. They have a place, okay, but we think the more I study, the more knowledgeable I become. The more you study, often the more confused you become and the more ignorant you become. This is why it is so important that one clears one's perception. The multitude of colors, we have seen how it happens in physics. Beautiful experiments with the prism, you can see it. And how that so-called white light splits into the components. What is that splitting? That splitting is the refraction. Why is there a multitude? There is a refraction. What is the reason there is a refraction in physics? Because the density of the medium is different. The density of glass is different than the density of air is different than the density of water. Hence, that light ray gets refracted, and the refraction and the diffraction and all that is happening. It starts to create this, what we perceive. What is that density in us? It is the ignorance, avidya. So depending on the type of avidya, and there are infinite types of avidya, Patanjali is given the best definition of avidya. Anitya asuchi, dukkha anatmasu, nitya suchi sukha, atmakyatya avidya. Confusion. The confusion that you are thinking the impermanent to be permanent. Now some people understand the body is not permanent. They can transcend that. But they still think that the feeling of happiness is permanent. Or they think that the relationship is permanent. See, the thing is, there are always going to be things you think are permanent that are non-permanent. There are always going to be identifications. You don't identify with your body, okay, fine. But you may identify with your knowledge, and so you call it copyright, patent. What has happened? You have a different type of identification. So each of us has a different type of identification. Each of us has a different type of avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, manifesting in different levels. Prasupta tanu vichinna udaranam. It may be dormant, and so you seem to be a very nice person until you're all stuck in that elevator. And then suddenly the abhinivesha klesha comes up, and you become that the worm that wants to climb out of the elevator before anybody else can. That centipede which wants to escape before anybody else can. The most primitive responses come out, or rather reactions and reflexes come out. When we are perceiving the light is colorless. The light is... That's why I'm just trying to give you this concept, because we always talk white light. And nowadays the problem is people have got so stuck with white and black. I tell you seriously, we are a multitude. Life is a multitude. And in that multitude there is oneness. There is no white or black. There is white and black. There is no green or blue. There is green and blue. It is all oneness. But we want to divide, and so we just look at which is the best way to divide, because power-hungry people understood divide and rule. And that is why we have to move from that divide and rule, which is based on abhinivesha, survival instinct, to finding the unity in diversity. The unity in diversity is the key message we humanity must understand right at this moment. Unity in diversity and enabling us to understand the whole world is one family. Vasudhaiva Kudumpakam. Yoga offers a diametrically opposite perspective to divide and rule. Unite and grow. Unite, grow and glow together. Vasudhaiva Kudumpakam. In unity, we become one. The diversity is the beauty of creation. Every snowflake is different. Every grain of sand is different. Every one of us living beings is different. Yet we are all one. The same energy, the same prana is in all of us. But because of the way we perceive, they are perceived differently. As Patanjali reminds us, the differences in processing, krama, the difference in the krama, the sequence of processing is different, and so it appears different. The dharma itself is the same. Dharmani pati dharmi. That dharma is the essential nature, is one and the same. Yet, the processing makes it appear different. The krama, the process, makes it different. You know, all of us human beings, our genome, the Human Genome Project, and it's thanks to Divya doing her 12th standard this year. She completed it. We are waiting her results. And irrespective of what she attains in it, and she will do well, irrespective of it, she's my daughter. Irrespective of it, I love her. Whether she gets 99 or whether she gets 91 or whether she gets 61 doesn't change the way I perceive her, because she is my daughter. I love her as she is, and she is growing into a beautiful human being. What the marks do is they just give you a small indicator that, okay, you knew what was needed on that day at that time. You put it down, and the person who corrected it felt that you had given the correct answer at that point, at that time, in the way they wanted. And so you were given a grade. Well and good. But your grade doesn't define you. You define yourself. Nobody can define you. You define yourself by your thoughts, by your words, and your actions. That is why a yogi is one whose thoughts, words, and actions are based on integrity. An integrated human being who is noble. Let's rephrase that. Integrated, noble human being. Integrated, noble human being. That is what a yogi is. The rest of it is all just to keep you busy. Coming back to the light. So when we say this light, that luminosity that is within us, that luminosity, that Murda Jyoti is Vishoka. It is Murdini. And when you focus on it, Siddha Darshana. So let's see how we can do it in a very simple way today. We will expand this over the next few days. What would be a procedure we could follow? Well, I would say 6 to 9 rounds of Savitri Pranayama in a seated position. Seated position, normally I would suggest Vajrasana, the human posture, where your spine is automatically erect. It's much easier for the head and neck to be aligned with the shoulders, with the back, which is what Lord Krishna suggests us to be. Once you have attained that, the Savitri Pranayama, connecting yourself with your solar being, the solar energy. After that, bringing the focus of the mind to the Bhrumadhya Bindu. And at the Bhrumadhya Bindu, let the mind settle for a few rounds, continuing the Savitri Pranayama. Then start the movement as you breathe in, going out in the Prana Kriya. You remember the Prana Kriya? Yes. Going out as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, coming in. And each time you come in, try to come to that Ajna Bindu. Now that you know about the Ajna Bindu, in the Prana Kriya, you use the Bhrumadhya Bindu as the midpoint. Going out as you breathe in, going forward as you breathe in. Let's rephrase it. Going forward as you breathe in and coming back into yourself as you breathe out. Because when I say go out as you breathe in, the out and in confuses you. Breathing in, moving forward. Breathing out, moving back into the folds of the brain, Ajna Bindu. And do another 9 rounds, 6 or 9 rounds. It depends on your time and your sort of ability to focus. You do that. And then on that final out breath, settle into the Ajna Bindu. And in that Ajna Bindu, let your mind stabilize into the Ajna Bindu, becoming one with the Ajna Bindu. And then we shall visualize this luminosity. We'll visualize this luminosity as a pin-sized luminosity, as small as you can think of. Patanjali says through samyama, what happens is you start to attain a mastery of the mind that can contemplate that which is paramanu, as small, the smallest of the atomic, subatomic, paramanu, parama mahatvantaha, and the largest. Your mind becomes so stable, it can contemplate the opposite ends of the spectrum. The whole spectrum opens up to you. As long as you are unstable, your spectrum of perception will be small. The more the inner stability grows, the larger the spectrum of perception. And that is why Patanjali says when your mind is completely stable, what happens is you can perceive the smallest of the small and the largest of the large, meaning the whole spectrum comes into your perception. Your perception expands to include both extremes. And then your perspective is more of the universal perspective, not as long as you are me. Someone wrote to me that they wanted to know what they would get for what they paid in my Adhikara Yoga course. I've asked them not to do the course. I am not here selling anything to anyone. I share happily, willingly, with gratitude, with openness, but on my terms. I'm not interested in consumers and customers, okay? That's not at all. My father wasn't, my mother isn't, and I am not interested in consumers and customers who want to know what they get for what they pay. What a world. Anyway, let's just start off the process. We'll just do a few rounds of each one. Tomorrow we'll go deeper, okay? Breathing out. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Bringing your mind focus now to the Bhumadhya, the midpoint between the two eyebrows. And as you breathe in, let the awareness be there of the prana moving forward and outward in front of your head into that Chiddakasha. And as you breathe out, follow the pranic flow coming in through the Bhumadhya Bindu into the Ajna Bindu and settling deep in the brain. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. A third round. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2. Settle into that Ajna Bindu, deep in the folds of the brain, correlated with the hypothalamus-pituitary axis. The hypothalamus, that is the heart of our existence. And in this deep inner fold of the brain, begin to perceive a beautiful inner light, as tiny as the tiniest tips of the pins you can think of, a beautiful luminosity. Letting this luminosity grow, so it is now becoming the size of a button, growing bigger to the size of a thumb, growing bigger till it's the size of a fist. And now letting that luminosity fill your whole skull, your whole cranial area, filled by that Murda jo-thi, Murdini jo-thi. Letting that luminosity grow out now so that the whole upper part of your body, the head and the torso, is engulfed in this beautiful light, spreading outwards so your whole body, from the head to the base of your spine, is all in this beautiful luminosity. Letting it go out so that it fills the room or the space in which you are sitting, fills your entire house or building, fills your locality, expands out into the town, expands out into the whole state that you reside in, your country, the continent in which you reside, expanding out to fill the whole world, and then expanding out into the wide, wide universe, going as far out as possible. Just be in this beautiful luminosity, that joy. Let yourself be completely absorbed in this beautiful luminosity. Slowly start to bring that luminosity back now from the whole universe into the planet, the continent, your nation, your state, the city, the locality, your building, your room, your body, upper part of the body, the head, now becoming smaller and smaller as it becomes again that beautiful pin. And then it disappears into nothingness. Begin to move your fingers and toes and rub your palms together, generating a nice warmth. Placing the warm palms over the eyes, the forehead and the head. Blinking the eyes into that semi-darkness and then getting used to the externalized light. This is just a quick, instant version just to get an idea. Just to get an idea of what we are going to be doing and how we are going to be working on this. We'll continue working over the next few days, taking this concept of jo-thi, darshana. First you have to have a vision of it. Then Jyoti Dhyana, you have to focus on it. Then there has to be that gift of Jyoti Dhyana meditation. And then, if we are worthy of it, an absorption into that Jyoti, a Jyoti Samadhi, sort of, to put it that way. Oh, thank you.